Okay. So today we're doing measurements of the position. The next thing is I want to talk about the definition of what does it mean to be percentiles. It's a value that's in the pth percentile is when the p% of the data are less than that value. So the percentile cannot be less than 0 percentile and cannot be greater than 100 percentile. So it talks about the p percentile, it is talking about the p% of the data. Okay. You guys have a minute to write that down? Anybody need another minute? Okay. Now here's some facts about the percentile. So for example, if we have a value that is the 34th percentile, this means about 66 of the data is larger than the value or 34% less than that value. So for example, let's say you got a score of 520 on your SAT, and the score is reported as the 78th percentile. That does not mean that 78% of your score was correct, but it does mean that you outperformed about 78% of those who took the SAT. The 50th percentile is the same as the median. This means that the 50th percentile divided by the data in half. The data values of the percentiles is greater than 50 are the top half, and the data values at the percentiles less than 50 is at the bottom half. Does that make sense? What it means to be a percentile? Have you ever got your ACTs back and you look at the percentiles? That's what it means.
I like they judge your child's height and weight off of percentiles.
They do. They also, with babies, they used to take at the head, there's
And there
was
was
the
a diameter of
circumference
their circumference of their
of the
head.
head, and then they also measured how long it was. Yes. Then they would put them on a chart,
Yes.
and it had to be, I call it he because my boy,
Yes.
my son, they said had to be within that 50 percentile, just like the average. So they told my oldest son, they did a circumference of his head and said his head was too big, and they wanted to put him in a helmet to make it shrink. And I said, no, you're not going to put a helmet on my child's head. I said, he's probably got a lot of brains like me. Just saying.
My son was born 2 months early and from birth has been in the 90th percentile of height.
My little boy's only, we'll have to see end of time, he's only in the 25th percentile in height. So, he's not little, but he's shorter than what he's supposed to be.
And he was, my oldest one was always chubby, so he was too heavy.
Yeah.
Well, you see my son.
I said he'll grow out of it, which of course then as he got older, he overate, but that's.
No, everybody's different.
But when he was growing up, when he was little, he was like skinny. And then when he got bigger, he made.
I think that stresses a parent out, especially when it's below average, because you think you have to do it.
Well, when you say my son, well, I say it's because he's short and when he grows it'll catch up, but his weight is in the 98th percentile. And every time we go, they're like, he's big for, he's big. I'm like, he's not big because he weighs 100 pounds.
Right.
And I'm like, he's 12. but he's overweight because his height is only in the 25th percentile.
Oh, because he's short.
Because he's short, because he's only in the
Yeah,
25th
because-
percentile, his weight's now in the 98th, but if you
Because
look
they
at
do
an
that-
average 12-year-old, 100's on the 50, but because of his short, he's on the,
Right, and they also calculate the BMI that way.
yeah.
For the shorter you are, the less you have to weigh.
Mm-hmm.
So my 180, you know, makes me look a little chubby compared to someone who's 6 foot who weighs 180. They look slender.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even though we can be the same. But I'm short like my poor mommy. But anyways, we're going to do example 1 here. And I try to get it all, as you know in my slides, I try to get it all in one slide. You know, but so interpreting percentile ranks. So the government agents kept data on the income distribution of population. So the Johnson family and the Smith family live in the county with 11,000 families. The Johnson family's income is at 36 percentile and the Smith family is at 19 percentile. Okay? So we have to look at this and find out which one is the true one about Johnson's family's income. So we look at it, then we have to pick which one, and whichever one is right, that's the one we have to color in, you see. So we look at the first one. The Johnson family earns about 36 percentile of the highest income of their county. Or is it the Johnson's family income is in the top half incomes of their county? Or is it the Johnson's family earn 36,000? Or is it the Johnson family earns less than about 64% families in their county? So let's look at the first one. Is that true? The Johnson families earns about 36% of the highest income in their county. No, because 50th percentile is half. So to be on the top half, you'd be higher than 50. So that's not true. So let's look at this one. So the Johnson's family income is in the top half of the income. Like I said,
No.
it is not in the top half because it has to be more than 50. So looking at here at this one, the Johnson's family earns 36,000. I don't see where that says that at all. Does it? No, we don't know they make that much. Or is it the last one? The Johnson's family earns less than 64% of the families in their county. And that one is true. So what you do, you take your little mouse and you click it over here and you go, that one's right. That's all you gotta do. You have to find out which one is true. There's another part to it that where you compare. And then they're gonna put it on here. I hope you guys, you have questions on that? You have to find out which one makes it true, which one makes sense. The other part of this will be when you're comparing Johnson's and Smith's, and it will be, are they both, you would probably say that the Johnson family earns more than the Smith family, right? I like to get it in that slide, but I guess I could have made I did right here. I made it continued. This is what I was talking about. So I'm gonna erase this because I don't apply to that one. So this is still the same thing. So this is part B, what I was trying to tell you about. I couldn't get it on the first slide, so I put it on the continue on the second slide. So let's find out which one is true about Johnson's family and the Smith family's incomes. So the Johnson family earns 17,000 more than Smith family. I don't see anything where it says about 17,000. Did you? If you did, I'm seeing something. You guys are seeing something I didn't. Or is it the Smith family earns 17,000 more than the Johnson family? I don't see anything about that either. Because I go, huh? Then you look at the third statement. Both of the Johnson family and the Smith family earn more than the median. What did I say was the median?
50%.
50th, right? So is that true? No. Both the Johnson family and the Smith family earn less than the median.
Yeah.
That is true because 19 percentile and 36. So you would click over here, both. Just color that in right there. Questions on that? we're going to, here are the steps. You may want to write this down or take a picture of it, but this is very important. Now I'm getting ready to show you how to do the five number summary. First, you got to make sure that your data values are numbered from least to greatest, so you got to put them in order. Next, you need to find the minimum and max of the data. So we're going to have a 5-point summary. It's called a 5-point summary. You're going to have a min, and then you're going to find we're going to be finding Q1, Q2, a Q3, and a max. And the Q2 will be my median. And we talked about what it means to be a median on Monday. The second one, okay, the third one, next we need to find the median, which is Q2. Then, on number 4, we need to find the lower quartile is the median of the lower half, which is the left side. Values of the median, which is I call Q1. Then you need to find the upper quartile, which is the median of the upper half. Then you also may have a interquartile. I think that's what it's spelled. Close enough. At least you guys have a minute to write that down because you'll be doing this. I like steps. The reason I like steps is because sometimes I do it and then I was like, then I try to do it again and then I was like, what was I supposed to do? And I go back to my steps. And it's also helpful when you do your assignments or do your quizzes or tests for me. Don't you agree? Sometimes you'll flip back and say, what did you say about that?
I remember doing that. How do I do it?
Yeah. And then you look back at it and you're like, oh yeah.
So all this together equals the.
No. I just wrote that down for now because we're getting ready to do an example of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do want you to write that down because it's going to be applied to.
I think I've already done this on Alex.
Well, that's good. So it's a good review for
Is
you.
the max part of the 5?
Yes.
Okay, so I need to write max.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the interquartile part is not part of the 5, but you will be asked that,
Oh, okay.
which it'll ask you at the very end of it, which is pretty much the Q3 minus the Q1. Okay? We're getting ready to do a problem like that. That's, I want to show you the steps first, then we'll do the problem. And I hope you guys know that I work hard on these slides to make sure you guys, it goes along with your Alex. Because sometimes I will study Alex to say, how do I teach this? It's a lot of thinking. And also, if you think you guys can think of ways I can improve it, you let me know. Okay, everybody got that? Everybody need another minute? Okay. Now this is the range of the interquartile I was talking about. That is the difference between the upper and the lower quartiles. That's the reason I said Q3 minus Q1. So as I said here, this is the equation here. So that's the interquartile range is the upper minus the lower. It is the measure on how much variation there is in the middle part of the data set. So Jessica, in a minute, I'm going to show you why you have to list it vertically, okay? Because if you try to list it horizontally, it'll confuse you. Because later on, I'll use these points to also make your, has anyone done a box plot and Whiskers? No, okay. Well, I'm gonna teach you today. And also, I'm doing things a little bit different today, so instead of us, we may have time at the very end, but I'm going to, after I do my lesson, we're going to do a little Kahoot. Then at the end, you can work on the Alex. But it's a review for test 2. Anybody need another minute? I got it, okay, good. Okay, now, here we got, and I did copy this straight off of Alex there. That's handy how you do the snip tool. Yeah, I think it's a handy thing.
I love this next one.
I do too. So anyways, I did this so you guys can see. So here are the families, the 14 families. This shows the distance in miles to the nearest airport for 14 families. So first of all, you look at this. Are they in order? Are they in order? Yes or no? Yes. Well, that's a good thing. That took care of step 1. Okay. So since they're in order, what is my minimum number? 8. So you put an 8 here, which I'm going to put it over here, okay? Which of course you put it right there. What is my maximum number?
33.
33. Okay, those 2 points is the easiest. And you remember, we're now going to find the median, which is the Q2. Since there are 14 in here, we're going to have 2 middle ones, right? And then you take the average of the 2 middle ones, like we did on Monday.
Yeah.
So that pretty means I'm going to have 7 on one side and 7 on the other. You guys ever thought about it like that? You
Yes.
got it by 2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be, what's the number that goes in between?
20.
You also can add those together and you get 40 divided by 2 is 20.
No.
Put a 20 there, okay? That's your Q2. Now, not counting the 20 I just wrote down, we try to find out what the median is for Q1. Looks like it's a 13. Is that what you guys got?
Yeah.
Put a 13 here. Let's look at the upper part.
28.
So it looks like it probably is 28. It is 28. Now that's my 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, when you get these right here, before you click check, okay? These have to be in order. So, to find this last part right down here, the range, we take the Q3, which is the 28, minus the 13. 28 minus 13 is what? 15. And that's what you put here. Put 15. Questions on that? You guys need another minute to write this down? Let me know. Okay, here is the definition to be a box and Whiskers plots, what I was telling you. So, it also, note to self here, you need to use the 5-point summary, which we've got there, to find Q1, Q2, Q3, and the higher and lower data. The box plot, sometimes I keep calling it a box plot, but it's really box and whisker plot, is a graphical display used to summarize the important properties of distribution. A box and whiskers plot indicates the median, the quartiles, and the extreme values, which is the largest and smallest one. So if you ever wonder, why I call it Q1, Q2, Q3, this is the first quartile, second quartile, and third quartile. That's the reason I call them Q. I like to abbreviate things when I can't, so I don't have to write it all out. That's a lot to write down, I know.
I just like to make simple.
Okay. Anybody need another minute? Let me know. Okay. Okay, here we got one. We got a dozen personality tests available on the World Wide Web. I'm sorry you guys can't see that, but hopefully you can. Including one that tells the test taker when the dead Russian compositor he was like. Suppose that 19 classmates have taken this test, and here are the scores that they took, okay? Let's construct a box and whisker plot, sometimes called a box plot, for the data. First of all, you look at it. Are they in order?
No.
No, they're not in order. So let's put them in order.
52,
Okay, 52, go ahead.
54,
And also, if there's two of the same, you have to tell it to me again, okay? Okay, 54, go ahead.
54,
Uh-huh. Another 54?
Yeah.
Okay.
59,
Uh-huh.
61,
Okay.
61, 62,
Uh-huh.
63. Oh, there's two 61s, I missed one. Oh, okay.
There's, 62, 63,
63.
Uh-huh.
66,
66?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
68,
Okay,
70,
got it.
71,
Uh-huh.
72,
73, 76, 77, and 78. Oh, and then 80 and 85. Am I missing one?
You gotta count them, there should be 19 of them.
she was not 70.
There is 19 of them.
Okay.
Now, with 19, that's an odd number, so we're gonna have a middle, right? So what is, so you should have probably have what, 9 on each side and have one in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So it should be maybe the 10th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like it's this one. But you can also take your fingers and go like this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. You can also take your fingers, or you can say, what's half of that, so you know it's going to be 9 on one side, 9 on the other, and it'll be 1 in the middle.
So is this considered the second quarterly or the median?
This is the Q2.
Q2.
So I'm going to do the 5. If it's okay with you guys, I'm going to just go ahead and erase this off, okay? So I can use the same. So I found that my Q2 is this. What is my minimum?
52.
52. And what is my max?
85.
85, okay. So just got to get 2 more points there. So not counting, you do not count the 68. So what would be my middle one?
76?
It's like
No, wrong
6.
side, wrong side.
Oh, you're probably right.
61?
Is it 61? 1, 2. 61? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
76?
61 for Q1, and what is on this side?
76?
Yep. 76. But you do not need this right here to do the box and whiskers, okay? That's for the
Okay.
other one. You do not have to. So, here we're going to draw it out. And it's going to give you a number line here, right? It looks like it's going to be range from 50 all the way up to 80. Okay. I have to put all these numbers in. How about I zoom over here to 60, 70, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, right? There we go. I just skipped over. Okay, so the whiskers will be your min and max, okay? So your first line will be at the 61. Right there's 61. We'll put a box here, up. And we go over to the minimum, which is a 68. The Q, this is my Q2, Q1. And then we go over to 76 here somewhere, 76. This is my Q3, right? And this up here this is a whisker. Okay, this is my 52 right here. 61, 86, 76, and my last whisker is way over here. So these right here is a whisker. Whisker. See, there's my box plot. Yeah, see, I did that. But on yours, Alex, you have one already. You just have to drag it over. Does that make sense? You grab, you see a little hand. You guys ever notice that on Alex? You'll be grabbing it and you drag it over there at the top. You have to drag your whiskers. If your 5 point is correct and you graph it correctly, it will be correct. But if you're so good that you don't have to do that 5 point, you go ahead. But I have to do the 5 points so I know where's my points going to be, where am I going to drag it to. I've tried to tutor students and they would say, "Can't you just look at it?" And I was like, "Well, I do, but I forget. I'm human too." I guess they think just because I'm a math instructor, I'd remember. Questions over that? Okay. Everybody got that? Okay. Here it is. This is what I was trying to tell you about, what it looked like. So, we're going to do another example, because the best way to understand math is by doing math. So, I'm going to erase all these again. Erase this data. You guys got that, right? Okay. Okay. So look at these numbers.
Are these the same numbers as last time?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. Okay. I guess it went in my example. So what you do, what I was trying to tell you guys is, I'm not really sure. Actually, this right here doesn't go with this because this is supposed to be bigger.
Yeah.
But the reason I put it here is so you guys would know. You drag that little point right there and you drag it over to the min, max, Q1, Q2, Q3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you have, sometimes it also asks you to do these, but I do this so that I can do that.
So it's probably, on this one, it's asking you to look at that graph and then fill out those things on the side.
Yes.
Because that would be that.
Or it'll give you these numbers. You do this on your paper and then you graph it.
Okay.
I've looked at Alex and they would be like, because a lot of people want to just look at the numbers, and I said, first of all, number one step, is it in order? They would say no, and I said, well, you need to put it in order. Why do you make things so hard? And I was like, counting. Yeah, it was just, that's part of the problem. You gotta do those steps. But that's, I guess they wanted me to get, that's not always easy. That was elementary, are you kidding me? Because that's straight multiplying divide. Okay, are there any questions on this? So we went over percentiles, the 5-point summary, the inner quartile range, and also the box and whiskers plot, which I call the box plot. I just leave out and whiskers when I say it. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And this is used in statistics. So if you ever have to continue and take, I think it's math 270 or something like that, or if you have to take statistics for nursing, you will be doing statistics. I think it was the other class that said, Miss Jackson, I'm not going to use any of this in nursing. And I said, yeah, you will. I said, because you'll be using statistics, because you'll take statistics to be a nurse. And I said, and I haven't gone to it yet, but we're going to use dimensional analysis, and you use it in drug dosage. Because if you give a patient too much, that's called OD, and you can get sued for it. If you give them not enough, that's not good either. Because then the doctor will be jumping at you, you know. They will say something to you and say, why didn't you not give them? And you're supposed to give them so much per many kilograms, and you got to change their pounds to kilograms, then you give them the medicine for how much per kilograms.
And then you got, like you have to calculate your drop rate,
Yes.
to calculate how many, like, they have an IV going and they're supposed to get this many milligrams, well, it's, you know, you want it to run in an hour, or the drop is like, it keeps,
So many drops
Yeah.
per hour.
yeah, so many drops per hour, you have to count per minute. And
Yes,
then after you get your per minute, then you know your per hour, yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I hated it, I never used it, I hated it in nursing school, when I was in nursing school, I hated that,
But you do it at RNs too.
yeah.
Yes.
I hated it, and I never used it in nursing, but I do use where you have to calculate your dose per kilogram. I do use that all the time.
So I'm gonna,
Our statistics.
okay, that concludes the lesson.